Hey everybody, Anderson here with some reader mail. It's a YouTube channel, so reader mail? Well, we're doing reader mail, okay? Settle down, it's reader mail. Anyway, Boose writes, Hey Anderson, question for you. How do you fit time in for sim racing into your everyday, every other day life? I'm trying to better manage my time among other responsibilities, yet even with a flexible work from home schedule and an amazing partner, I'm still not using my time effectively and stuck in a loop of work, eat, laze about, minor chores, and racing. Admittedly, I don't know you that well, but you appear to have similar circumstances, albeit with 2 kids. Where do you find the appropriate time for your hobbies? After the family is tended to for the night, hobbies every other night, I'm trying to build a bit of a plan for myself. So first of all, great question and something I've thought a lot about. Now let me answer it in enough length to make you very, very sorry that you asked in the first place. It's ironic that in this hobby we have to spend hours to save seconds. So finding the time to schedule this stuff can be really challenging, especially when you have, work obligations, families, kids, etc. Maybe you thought when I said finding time I meant lap time. I assure you I'm not that kind of driver. Basically, what all this comes down to is not specific to sim racing, it's really to any hobby, it's time management. One of the things I like to think about is the idea that time is the one currency that everybody has the exact same amount of. So for that reason, I'm not a big fan of using language like, I didn't have the time or whatever. I think that we find time for the things that we love, and more importantly, we make time for the things that we love. We make time for the things that we have to do, our obligations, but we also choose where we're going to spend the rest of that currency in our day. So assuming that you have 24 hours in your day, which is the same amount of time that everybody else does, you have to choose where you're going to invest that time. So a lot of this comes down to being intentional about your time, making choices. Before we can make intentional decisions about how we're going to spend our time, we need to identify some windows where, we have the availability to do this. For my part, there's a window in the morning before the kids quite get out the door to school, before I have to get out to work, where I can sit down for 30 minutes and take some laps. And so most weekday mornings, I sit down between 7 and 7:30 in the morning and I take that time. Maybe for you, you work from home and it's a lunch break. Maybe it's after the kids get home while they're doing their homework. Maybe it's after dinner while your wife is watching a show. Who knows? The important thing is that you identify a section of your day that will work for you repeatably. Now let's identify some things that would stop us from sitting down. What we want to do here is remove any of the barriers that we can identify. Maybe you sit down and you're confronted by all the choices of what you could drive, and you have analysis paralysis. If you know that that's an issue for you, figure out what you're going to do before you sit down and do it. Again, be intentional. Know what you're going to do with that time ahead of time so that when the time comes, so that when you sit down to do what you're going to do, you know what you're going to do. Maybe you had a stressful day and you just don't want to go to the dark place.
Me in a Sorry.
Find a car and track combination that you find soothing and just make it your go-to thing. Personally, I'm going to recommend the Schumacher 2004 Ferrari around the Nordschleife. Great. Maybe you sit down and you constantly find yourself distracted. Identify those distractions and remove them. Turn off your phone, close your door, close the blinds. Whatever. Probably your last step here is, once you've identified what works, repeat it, refine it, make sure that it's something you can do over and over again. When you find the thing that works, you can keep that momentum moving. So now we've identified windows, and we've identified some barriers, so we have a good plan here about what we're going to do. How can we reinforce this behavior? How can we make sure to keep this stuff going? Again, intentionality is the idea here, and structure. Another great way to keep the momentum going is to find a community of like-minded folks. Join a racing league, or find a YouTuber that you like, join their Discord, talk to people. Essentially, community is compelling, and when you have people to race with, or you can identify periods of time when other people are racing, that might give you an idea of when you should be doing it as well, or when you might get more bang for the buck in terms of spending your currency of time. You could race online with LFM. That provides a structure for you. There's essentially a menu and a timetable that you can pick from. It's already done for you. Something I've done in the past is race along with the F1 schedule. So every week, whichever the F1 race is going to be, I would pull up that track and drive around so that I could learn that track or be prepared to watch the race that weekend. Again, here it all comes down to making choices, identifying the barriers to your entry, identifying the periods of time when you could do this, and then trying to create a situation where you are likely to sit down and drive. So hopefully this wasn't too long and boring. A good use of your time. Seriously, we make time for the things that we love and the things that are important to us. And if your hobbies are important, and they should be, they're absolutely vital, it's super important that you prioritize this stuff, because if you're not making time for hobbies that you love, you're probably neglecting your mental health in other ways too. So give this stuff some thought. I hope it's helpful for you. If you like this video, please feel free to give that subscribe button a gentle caress. You do not have to smash it. I cannot stress this enough. We're all friends here. No need for that kind of stuff.